The night I found out my boyfriend was cheating, I didn't cry. I just sat there, staring at the proof, and realizing it wasn't a stranger. It was my best friend. When I met Daniel, I wasn't even looking for a relationship. I had just moved into a small apartment with my best friend Lily, and my life finally felt balanced. We were both 22, working our first real jobs, trying to figure out adulthood one grocery list at a time. I remember feeling proud of myself. I had my own space, a friend I trusted completely, and for the first time, life didn't feel so heavy. If someone had told me back then that both of them would end up breaking my heart, I would have laughed. But I guess we never see the warning signs when we're happy. Daniel was one of Lily's co-workers. She mentioned him casually one night, said he was quiet, funny in a dry way, and the kind of guy who actually listens. I laughed and told her to date him herself. She said, "No, trust me. You'd like him more." A few weeks later, he came to one of our weekend get-togethers. He wasn't loud or trying to impress anyone. He just smiled when he saw me struggling to open a bottle and offered to help. That's how we started talking. Not with fireworks, but with small, ordinary moments that somehow stuck in my mind. After that night, he started texting me. It wasn't flirty, not at first. Just little things. Songs he thought I'd like, jokes about our boring jobs, random photos of his coffee with captions like "barely surviving." I liked how easy it felt. He didn't rush things. He made me feel seen, like I could just be myself, messy and tired. And it was enough. Lily noticed, of course. She teased me about it, asking if I'd finally found someone normal. I laughed and told her, maybe. Back then, I thought she was just happy for me. Within a few weeks, Daniel and I were officially dating. He wasn't perfect, but he was steady. He asked about my day, remembered my favorite snack, held my hand in public. It felt safe. He also got along well with Lily. Sometimes she'd join us for dinner or movie nights. The three of us would joke around, and I remember thinking how lucky I was to have a boyfriend who respected my best friend and a best friend who supported my relationship. I didn't know that those were the nights I should have been paying attention. The first small thing happened about 2 months in. I noticed Lily texting more than usual, smiling at her phone, then locking it quickly when I walked in. I teased her about it, and she just said, "Relax, it's work stuff." I didn't think much of it. We both had demanding jobs, and she'd always been private about certain things. Then, one evening, Daniel cancelled our plans last minute. He said he wasn't feeling well, so I brought him soup after work. When I got to his apartment, he looked surprised, not sick, just startled. He smiled quickly, said he was just resting, and thanked me for the food. I didn't stay long. I didn't want to bother him. But when I was leaving, I saw a second mug on the table, half empty with lipstick on the rim. It was faint, barely there. And for some reason, my stomach turned. That night, I couldn't sleep. I told myself it could have been anyone. Maybe his sister, a friend, even something old he forgot to clean. But it didn't feel right. Something about his tone earlier, the way he avoided eye contact. It all stuck in my head. The next morning, I mentioned it to Lily over breakfast. She shrugged, said, "You're overthinking, girl. Maybe you're just tired." Her voice was calm, reassuring, but I noticed she didn't look at me when she said it. The following weeks felt strange. Daniel started getting busy more often. He texted less, called less, and when we did see each other, he was distracted, scrolling through his phone, quick to change the subject when I asked questions. I didn't want to be the clingy girlfriend, so I backed off. I told myself, every couple goes through phases. Meanwhile, Lily seemed distant too. She'd come home later, sometimes smelling like his cologne, though I didn't realize it at first. One night, I joked about how they saw each other more than I saw either of them. She just laughed and said, "Well, maybe I should start charging him for therapy sessions." Something in the way she said it made my heart sink. Still, I pushed the feeling away. That's what we do when we don't want to lose people. We convince ourselves that everything's fine. I told myself they were friends, that I was being paranoid, that I trusted them both. But deep down, I already knew something was wrong. A few days later, I noticed Daniel had started posting fewer photos on his social media. Before, he'd share pictures of us at dinner, or of the little things we did together. A movie ticket, my hand on a coffee cup. Now, nothing. When I asked about it, he said, "I don't post everything anymore. People talk too much." I told him I understood, but part of me wondered who he didn't want people to see. Around the same time, Lily began avoiding certain topics. When I'd mentioned Daniel, she'd find a reason to change the subject, like suddenly remembering laundry or checking her phone. I brushed it off until one night she left her laptop open on the couch while taking a shower. I wasn't snooping, but the screen lit up with a notification. A message from Daniel. Just a heart emoji. No words, just that. I froze. My mind tried to build logical walls around what I'd seen. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's old. Maybe it's not even that deep. But it was enough to start the storm in my chest. When she came out of the bathroom, towel in her hair, I didn't mention it. I just watched her. The way she smiled, the way she scrolled through her phone again. And for the first time, her laughter didn't sound familiar. I tried to act normal for a few days. But once you suspect something, everything starts to look like evidence. He was texting late at night again. She was suddenly protective of her phone. And when I asked if she'd seen him at work, she'd answer too quickly, like she'd practiced it. Still, I wanted to be wrong. I wanted the story in my head to be paranoia, not betrayal. The truth came out a week later. It was a Friday night, and Daniel said he was working late. Lily told me she was meeting co-workers for drinks. I stayed home, trying to distract myself with a movie I didn't even finish. Around 10, I realized I hadn't heard from either of them. That strange, heavy silence filled the apartment. On instinct, I opened Lily's Instagram. She wasn't posting, but I saw a story from another girl at her office. A short clip. People laughing at a bar, clinking glasses, and right in the corner, barely visible, Daniel's arm around Lily's shoulders. My heart dropped. For a second, I couldn't move. I replayed it, zoomed in, blinked a dozen times, hoping I was imagining it. But there they were, together, smiling. The same smile he used to give me. I didn't text him. I didn't call her. I just sat there, on our couch, staring at my phone until the screen went dark. It felt like the floor had disappeared. All the memories, every word, every laugh, every moment, started replaying in my head, but in reverse, like my brain was trying to rewrite everything I thought was real. The soup I brought when he was sick, the way she defended him when I was confused, the lipstick on the mug. It all made sense now. They came home separately the next day, or at least they tried to. Daniel texted me that morning, saying he was exhausted and needed rest. Lily showed up later, claiming her phone had died overnight. She smiled the same practice smile she always did. I looked at her for a long time and said, "Lily, are you seeing Daniel?" Her face froze. She didn't say anything. Not right away. Her silence was the answer I didn't want but already knew. When she finally spoke, her voice shook. "It wasn't supposed to happen," she said. "He was lonely. We were both confused." I remember just standing there. No yelling, No screaming, just a strange calm, like I had already used up every emotion. I asked her, "How long?" She said, "A few weeks." But her eyes said longer. When Daniel came over that evening, I didn't let him explain. He started with the same tired lines. "It didn't mean anything. You don't understand what we were going through. You and I were drifting apart." Every word felt like a brick on my chest. I remember saying, "No, Daniel, you didn't drift. You walked away." He looked shocked, like he expected me to beg, to cry, to ask why. But I didn't. I was done. After he left, I packed a small bag and went to my sister's place. I didn't tell Lily I was leaving. I just sent a short text, "Don't contact me." That night, I lay on my sister's couch staring at the ceiling. It didn't feel like heartbreak. It felt like silence after a storm, when everything's still standing, but nothing looks the same. For days, I kept wondering how they could do it. How two people who said they loved me could lie so easily. And then it hit me. They didn't start by betraying me. They started by betraying themselves. The first few weeks after everything fell apart were quiet, not peaceful, just quiet, like my whole life had been muted. I moved back in with my sister for a while. She didn't ask questions. She just let me sleep, made me coffee, and reminded me to eat. Sometimes that's what healing looks like. Not deep conversations or motivational speeches. Just someone making sure you're still doing the small things that keep you human. I blocked both of them. Not out of anger, but because I knew I'd go back if I didn't. Daniel had a way of talking that made me doubt my own memory. And Lily, she knew every soft spot I had. I thought about writing them a long message, explaining how hurt I was, how much they broke me. But what was the point? They already knew. They just didn't care enough to stop. So instead, I wrote something for myself. It wasn't a letter, more like a list. You're not stupid for trusting people. Love doesn't mean losing yourself. Sometimes forgiveness is just choosing peace for your own heart. It took months before I stopped checking my phone at night. Even longer before I stopped thinking about what they were doing. Healing isn't a straight line. It's messy. Some mornings, I'd wake up and feel strong. Others, I'd scroll through old photos and cry until I couldn't see straight. But slowly, things started to shift. I went back to the things that used to make me feel alive. Painting, morning runs, late night drives with music too loud. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't living around someone else's moods. One afternoon, I ran into a co-worker of Lily's at a coffee shop. She didn't know what had happened, or maybe she did, but she told me Lily and Daniel didn't last long. Apparently, it fell apart once there was no one left to lie to. I didn't feel satisfaction. I just felt done. Like that chapter had finally finished writing itself. People always talk about heartbreak, like it's a single event, like one big explosion that ruins everything. But the truth is, heartbreak is quieter. It's the small moments that hurt the most. Seeing his toothbrush next to yours for the last time, realizing a song you love now belongs to a memory you don't want. But those same small moments are where healing starts too. The first morning you wake up and don't check your phone. The first time you laugh and it's not forced. The first day you realize you haven't thought about them in hours. And when you do, it doesn't ache as much. Eventually, I moved into a new apartment. Just me this time. The first night felt strange. Too quiet. Too empty. But as I unpacked, I noticed something. The quiet didn't scare me anymore. I started enjoying my own company. Cooking dinner for one. Reading on the balcony. Learning that alone and lonely aren't the same thing. 6 months later, Daniel texted me. Just one line. "I miss you." For a second, I felt that old pull, the habit of wanting to fix things, to comfort. But then I realized he missed the version of me that let him get away with everything. And that version doesn't exist anymore. So I deleted the message. No anger, no reply, just peace. As for Lily, I never heard from her again. Sometimes I still think about our friendship, how real it felt, how safe it used to be. But now I see that some people only stay loyal as long as it benefits them. And letting go of her wasn't losing a friend. It was freeing myself from someone who didn't know what friendship really meant. It's been over a year now, and if you asked me what I learned, I'd tell you this. Love isn't about constant fireworks or perfect timing. It's about honesty, effort, and respect. And if you don't have all three, it's not love. I used to think being forgiving made me weak. Now I know it's what made me free. Because I can talk about it without shaking. I can remember without pain. And I can see myself again. Not the broken version, but the one who survived. If you're listening and you've been through something like this, I want you to remember. You are not stupid for loving someone who lied to you. You were honest in a world that sometimes isn't, and that's something to be proud of. The right people won't make you question your worth. They'll remind you of it. If my story sounds like yours, please know, you're not alone. Healing takes time, but you'll get there, just like I did. And if you felt something listening to this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Unspoken Truths, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Your support helps these stories reach the people who need them most. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next story.